Now, listen, this is not a suggestion. This is a must-do thing. Do this before the year 2030. Or otherwise, if you disregard what I'm talking about, forget about the things called being rich. Okay? Guess what? Have you ever been in a situation whereby you kind of ask yourself, maybe you look at your parents or you look at your grandparents, you're like, what were these guys doing when we had this greatest wealth transfer or something of sort? Why didn't my grandma, why didn't my what, all those kind of things? That's what is happening right now. The greatest wealth transfer is happening right now, but you cannot notice. That's the reality. By the way, go read it out there. They are saying that the greatest wealth transfer is gonna happen, and that is when the wealth will change hands from the baby boomers, and the what do you call them, the Gen X or something of sort, to the millennials, guys who were born from 1986 all the way to 1981 all the way to 1996, around there. That is when the greatest wealth transfers will happen. And guess what? It is happening right now. And by the way, if you've been keen enough to look at it, what is happening in the world, you can actually notice. Guess what? Right now, as we speak, the technologies are top notch. Right now, as we speak, have you ever heard of people talking about the AI, artificial intelligence? You know, a lot of AIs are coming in. Different countries are coming up with their own AIs. The United States, you heard of China, you heard of a variety of places, they're coming up with their own AIs. Let me tell you one secret. That is when the money is made. And when you just sit there, for example, right now, how many of you regret they never bought Bitcoin? How many of you regret to be like, oh my goodness, I really wish I bought a Bitcoin, but it was at around $5 or $10 or $100. Right now, we are talking about over 60,000 and something of. How many of you regret and something of sort? See, if you do not grab an opportunity when it's at the baby level, when it's at the preliminaries, when it's, do you know why I actually have this YouTube channel? By the way, back then, I started YouTube channel of mine like 2.5 years ago. And I look at it, what is happening. A lot of people in Kenya were making YouTube channel, and you could say, hey, guess what, check on my YouTube channel. And I was like, what if one day my children be like, Dad, why didn't you start even a YouTube channel? Right now is paying people billions of money. What are you doing? Because by the way, I'm looking forward to see a time will come when people will be writing a will and leaving their Instagram to children, saying, hey, so and so receive my Instagram. Because that thing will be making a lot of money. People writing wills and saying, hey, my YouTube channel goes back to some. For example, if you have a YouTube channel that is giving you over 10,000 or 20,000 USD in a month, come on, that's a thing worth writing a will for. That's a reality. So guess what, guys? If you're watching me and you're an African, do you know we have something called the Agenda 2063? Have you ever sat down and read that document? It's quite of a big document. Have you ever read about the Agenda 2063 in Africa? What Africa is aiming to be at 2063? Okay, fine. Forget about the 2063. We are talking about the 2030. And by the way, don't worry. 2030 is only 6 years from today. 6 years from today. I'm making this video in April of 2024. See, 6 years from today is not far. All right. And remember, there's a video that I made and I told you one thing. If you can only sacrifice for only 1 year, 365 days, financial sacrifice, I am telling you truly, you'll transform your life financially completely. You'll beat poverty, because poverty is what is killing Africa in most of the time, at big time. Now, let's get to the business. What do you do right now before the 2030 kicks in? And by the way, if you're watching me for the first time, this is Good Joseph speaking. And guess what I do here? I talk about money. I talk about investments, making money, investing, saving, management, all those things. And guess what? I do upload a video each and every day. Now, if you're an amazing of my good videos, go ahead and like this video and also make sure that you subscribe. How do you subscribe? Down below there is a small button written subscribe. Hit that magical button and also comment on this video. Let's get to the business now. What exactly do you do right now, bearing in mind that is the greatest wealth transfer that is happening right now? Okay, now in Kenya, we have a lot of people who are working online. They are making money. It is the best time to do that. And do not get confused when we say working online. People have this rogue idea or rogue mentality, or not really rogue mentality, but wrong mentality, on the sense that, hey, if someone talks about making money online, you think like anybody and everyone qualifies. You can just show up to online and download a certain website or show up to a certain website and make money. It doesn't happen that way. Have you ever seen people who don't really get out of their houses? They eat and they drink and you feel like, oh my God, what do these guys do? See, now, right now as we speak, you can actually make money on the AI, artificial intelligence. Right now, even writing a lot of complicated, even writing books, sometimes you can even do so using an AI. Making some face, see this YouTube channel without even your face and something, you can be able to do exactly that. So what you're supposed to do in the next 6 years, that is from today, you can divide these 6 years into 2 sections, okay? Or into various sections. You can say, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, those are the 6 years, okay? This is year number 1 and this is year number 6. You can decide, irrespective of your age. For example, let's say you are at your 20s, let's say you are at your 30s, let's say you are at your 40s. These are the people whom I really talk to very much, because you have the chances to transform and change your life. But I didn't say if you're watching this and you're above 55, you're not supposed to. You can be able to do so. After all, 6 years is not a long period of time, okay? Now, see, the year one, this is the year of learning. This is the year of learning. Because guess what? Never forget this. Without learning, or the much you learn, the much you earn. That's a fact. So the year one, you can dedicate and say, and by the way, it doesn't have to be the entire year. This year one, you can as well divide it into 2 sections. You can divide the first 6 months, all right? Pick a thing and learn about it. For example, if there's something that is paying so much right now as I speak, is digital marketing. Go ahead and learn about digital marketing. Simply digital marketing, if I may define it as simplest term, though I made a video about it, is simply how can you make your business in existence on the social media. I repeat, see, how can you do what it's an e-commerce. E-commerce, what does it mean? This is the businesses that we are used to. Let's say you do sell cosmetics, you do whatever the business that you do. Now, how can you take that business and make it have an online presence? How can you make it an online presence? Instead of relying with people who come from that locality where you've set up your business. Now, how can you elevate it and put it in the online presence? You get what I'm saying? Now, that's digital marketing. Again, how can you then make some businesses? How can you actually, it doesn't have to be necessarily your business having an online presence. It can be you offering the services to the businesses, how you can make them or help them have an online presence, manage their website, how can they advertise, how can they appear on the Google ads, how can they appear on the Facebook ads, how can they appear in all those social media accounts, so that they can leverage, so that they can do what we call the scaling up by actually reaching more people so they can be able to make more money. That is what we call the digital marketing. See, now, for the first 6 months, from today, the time you're watching this video, to the next 6 months, pick a thing that you want to learn about. It doesn't have to be one thing. It can be Google design. It can be what we call the digital marketing. It can be things to do with drop shipping. By the way, a video about drop shipping is coming soon. How can you be able to make money without you having yourself a warehouse where you keep all the things and what have you? It can be about affiliate marketing. It can be about, what do we call it? Consultancy. It can be something to do with graphic design. It can be something to do with all those things, Photoshop and what have you, video editing, annotation, copywriting, on-write writing, article writing, reviews, all those kind of things. Those are the areas, AI, train of AI and all those kind of things. So pick a thing that you can learn about from 1 to 6 months. And by the way, guess what? It doesn't have to be a complicated thing. And it's not even, sometimes you don't even have to pay anybody to do that. You show up to an online thing and you can be able to do that. The second phase of the first year, again, is practicing that what you've learned. So by the time now you're clocking in the second year all the way to 6th year, the first 3 years, now this is when you actually mastered the thing that you're doing right now. And guess what happens? By the now the 6th year is coming out. This is where now we have our 2030 here. You're already a pro. You're already, if you're a software engineer, website designer, if you're a web designer, if you can do anything that you picked, that is when you're starting, you're already a pro on that specific thing. Okay, now I feel like some of you are feeling like, Joseph, I don't want those things. I'm of age. I don't want those things that you're talking about. I just want to hear about where can I invest. Fine. See, now that was option A for the young people who have time, who can leverage on time and something of sort. And by the way, before I even talk about the other options, is come on, guys, do what? If you can be able, if you do have a smartphone, and I believe you have it, be it that you're watching this from your laptop or whatever the thing you're watching me from, make sure that you pick your phone, and anything that you do, turn the camera on. I repeat, in anything and everything that you do right now, turn the camera on. Record on what you're doing so that we know who you are. By the way, I think the next future, or even next, not even next future, today's greatest CV is your online presence or your online social media. Now, see, the next thing that you can be able to do in the 6 years, that is today to 2030, things will become expensive. That's for sure. If it's about real estate, it will be expensive. It is about investment. By the way, I'm looking forward to where our economy in Kenya, that will actually be able to expand, grow. By the way, have you ever realized one thing? If you go to the treasury bills of countries like US, UK, those first world countries as they call themselves, as they are called, okay? See, if you go to those countries, you realize that their treasury bonds, returns, and bills, they are quite low. Even money market fund, that the unit trust and whatever, they are way low compared to ours. For example, I think if, and I stand corrected, if you go to places like US, you find like their T-bills and bonds, you find like they're around 5% or something of sort. Again, I stand corrected. So, and then when you come to Kenya, it's about 16, 17, 18. By the way, we even had the 18 one like a month or 2 months ago. See, you find like, hey, guess what? If you get into the bills and that's why you find even those guys who are from the West are coming to Kenya and investing on this these bills and bonds because they're actually giving or they're getting higher returns. Maybe that can explain why the Kenyan shilling is actually gaining value against the dollar. But some few days, like a week or something, we have seen a different result. But anyway, depends on when you're watching this video. Again, I'll repeat, I'm making this video in April of 2024. Now, see, what happens now is this, is that by the time you clock this period, because in Kenya, for example, if I may use as an example, we have a vision 2030. We want to be a middle income country, if possible, a high middle income country, and all those kind of things, and what have you. So everything is expected to be expensive. And right now, as we speak, we have a lot of things that we have not catered for. We cannot say that infrastructure-wise we are better. We cannot say the service industry we are better. We cannot say even things to do with running errands and what have you. We are still not yet there. This is the time to pick a thing, move along with it, be an expert. By the time you're showing up in 6, 5, 10 years from today, you're already an expert at that particular area and you're making money in that case regard. For example, if today you decide for the next 6 years, I'm going to go ahead and buy shares, go ahead and go buy stocks for the companies that are promising. And the companies, I said, how do you make a decision of which company to buy shares and stocks? Go buy companies that usually use their products each and every day. If you make calls each and every time, you have to buy airtime, you have to, those are the companies to buy. If you have to buy food, if you have to, those are the companies to buy. You buy the toothpaste and water, those are the companies to buy. You buy the companies that matter each and every day. You do not complicate things and go buy shares of companies that you don't even understand what they do. Go buy shares for the companies that you understand what they do, and you are also a client, a customer, a consumer, a user. And that way, you're not only you. That way, it means that company has a promising future. That is exactly how you do it. And I dare promise you, even if, for example, I made a video and I told you guys, each and every month, by God's grace, I actually buy shares worth like 20 USD. That's like 2,500 each and every month. This is just a money I buy and say, hey, guess what, quote unquote, forget about it. I look at it from a point of future, future perspective. And that's now, if you push that all the way to the 6th year, bearing in mind you're making money on what we call the capital gains, and as well what do you call it, the capital gain, and also the dividends. And that way you're going to build yourself a very great portfolio of investment. So if you go ahead and do nothing between now and 2030, and then you expect a miracle to happen in 2030, do not expect things to become easy. They become complicated. They become harder and harder and harder. The cost of living gonna go ahead and rise. If you wanna believe what I'm saying, go watch some documentaries. For example, there was a documentary I was watching about how to be successful in South Korea. You find people, they are reading all the time, they are doing the work, they're trying as much as they can, and all those kind of things. So you find it requires you to be very, very vigilant. It requires you to actually work extra hard, especially when you go to these developed economies. You find, for example, buying a parcel of land, let's say in America, it becomes a little bit hard, but in Kenya, there's some places you can even buy a parcel of land at 100K. That's like $1,000 and what have you. I bet this is the time to, go ahead and put yourself into an investment, grab a thing, invest into that thing continuously, but never forget this thing. Though I'm going to make a whole video about this. We get wealthy by specializing on a specific thing. And then how we safeguard then is to diversify. I've never come across someone who became wealthy by virtue of you diversifying way early. No, pick one thing, be good at it, push it along. By the time you're talking about 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you're already a pro. Now that's later now when you start diversifying into other investments. But if you diversify early, you become, what do we call it? You sort of become distracted and you actually don't channel most of your energy to one specific thing. So the point is this, guys, before 2030, especially Africans, go ahead and grab something, do something about it, so that at least we can do something for the sake of our future. For now, it's a goodbye and see you in the next one. By the way, if you'd like to have a conversation with me, my number is always on the description of this specific video. Shoot that number of mine on my comment section, or rather, shoot a call to me, or you can shoot me a WhatsApp text. I can be able to respond to you for my services. For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one.